Well, internet giant Google in hot water again for possible privacy violations. This after application developers found out that Google is sharing information about users without their permission. The group Consumer Watchdog alerted the Federal Trade Commission and has asked them to intervene. So will Google face any consequences? Ryan Radia, Associate Director of Technology Studies at the Competitive Enterprise Institute, joins us now to discuss. Welcome, Ryan. So what kind of information are we talking here? What kind of information is being shared by Google?
What we've learned is that Google is sharing some info about its users. These are people who've got an Android phone. Android's actually right now the leading smartphone in the world, hundreds of millions of users. The idea of the information...
It beats out the iPhone.
Yes, Android phones together, there are many models, actually outsell the iPhone overall. That's been the case for some time now. What we've learned in recent weeks is that the app developers, the small companies and sometimes individuals who sell apps to users on the Android store, are in some cases getting from Google information about the users. That could be the full name of the user, the email address, the suburb, possibly even the street address in some cases. That's raised privacy concerns in some circles, and as you said, some are calling on the FTC to intervene.
All right, so yeah, some personal information there. What kind of problems can this pose for consumers?
So far, we haven't heard of any problems. The theory is that perhaps if an app developer figures out where you live, your email address, if you leave a bad review, there could be retribution. There have been no reports of that happening yet, but there are theories out there about things that might happen that are harmful in the future. On the other hand, Google has provided a reasonable explanation for why this is happening. When you buy an app on the App Store using your Google Wallet, where you probably have put in your credit card or PayPal, you're actually buying from the app developer. It could be the company that makes Angry Birds, it could be a smaller company. That transaction legally is between you and the developer. Google's just in the middle. So for things like sales tax compliance, the developer is going to need to know where you're located to the extent that it has to tax that or provide information to the authorities if they come and audit it. Similarly, let's say you downloaded an app and there's a bug, there's a problem. The email address can let the developer let you know. So there's some reasons why this information could be used to help users, and in theory why it could be used against users, although we haven't seen that yet.
You know, this isn't the first time that Google has been in trouble over privacy issues. Now this is raising a lot of concern. Do you think that will Google be held accountable?
Well, certainly it's already being held accountable in the marketplace with all of this media. People who are wary about Google are free to leave to get an iPhone next time their contract is up, or a Windows phone for that matter. The FTC has been working to police internet privacy, in some cases imposing very large fines on companies, including Google, but also Apple, Microsoft, and many others, even for relatively trivial privacy violations. And would not be surprising if the FTC considers intervening here again. However, Google has said that its policy that governs this sharing has been intact for quite some time, perhaps before the consent decree, the settlement between Google and the FTC was in place. So whether Google actually broke any laws here is unclear, especially because Google says in its policy that some, but not all people read, that it will share your information for transaction purposes. It's kind of like when you buy something from Amazon, but when it's a company that Amazon contracts with, of course they have to know your shipping address to ship something to you. That's the sort of arm's length transaction that's occurring here. Whether all users know about it is certainly in doubt. Many people apparently are surprised to learn that their email addresses are going here to developers. Whether that's a legal issue that will be raised remains to be seen.
Of course, so many people use Google these days. It's become a household name. I wonder what it will take for Google to be more sensitive and to feel to be held accountable to their customers to not share this information.
It's really going to depend on how user privacy expectations evolve in time. So we don't really know how much people care about privacy in aggregate because people differ. People will sometimes tweet where they eat, everything they do, whereas some people are very reclusive. They have a Facebook account under a fake name. So Google really has a very big incentive here, as do all these companies, to try to strike that balance between giving users free services or low-cost services that make use of information while also keeping it safe. every company is struggling to strive that balance. We could have no information sharing and pay $20 a month to use a search engine, but the users have spoken. That's not what they want. They are willing to share some information in exchange for some services. But that calculus is going to evolve as people learn about the risks of information sharing and as these services grow and proliferate.
Right. A lot of times people are, as long as it makes their life easier, they're okay with giving out a little bit of information. It kind of makes you wonder if this is just what it's come to now, that we just kind of have to accept that we don't have the same amount of privacy that our parents were afforded, or the previous generations had afforded. Very interesting, Ryan. Thanks for weighing in on this. That was Ryan Radia. He is the Associate Director of Technology Studies at the Competitive Enterprise Institute.